Have you ever faced a moment where life takes an unexpected turn? When, in the blink of an eye, everything you believe to be true is suddenly turned upside down. This is the story of a woman who never thought it could happen to her. Yet, the moment she stopped paying attention, everything began to unravel. Confusion swept in, followed by regret and an emotional storm that she couldn't outrun. It's not just about the empty space you leave behind. It's about the deep psychological shift that hits like a crashing wave, leaving her questioning everything she once understood about herself. In today's video, we'll dive into the 10 emotional stages she experiences when you pull away. These stages catch her off guard and shift the dynamics of the relationship, giving you a subtle advantage in this intense emotional push and pull. Stay tuned, because I'll be breaking it all down, step by step. If you're ready to understand the powerful undercurrents shaping these moments, don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss these insights that could change your perspective forever. 1. The initial shock. It's that moment when reality hits like a bolt of lightning on a clear, calm day, completely unexpected and disorienting. She suddenly realizes you're no longer investing in her, and it's a wake-up call she never saw coming. For weeks, maybe even months, she's been at the center of your attention. You were her steady anchor, the one she leaned on for care and validation. Now that you've pulled away, that sense of stability has vanished, leaving her standing on unsteady ground. But this isn't just about losing your attention. It's about something deeper, her sense of control. She was comfortable knowing you were always there, always reachable. Now, she's facing the sharp sting of uncertainty. Questions start racing through her mind. Why did he pull away? Was I not enough? Did I do something wrong? Suddenly, her world feels off-kilter, as if the foundation of her confidence is cracking beneath her feet. On the surface, she may try to play it cool. She might act like your absence doesn't bother her, maybe even pretend not to notice. But deep down, the shift is hitting hard. She's left replaying every interaction, every word, trying to figure out where things went wrong. This shock becomes the first fracture in her armor, the opening act of a much deeper emotional journey ahead. Understanding this initial stage is key, because it sets the tone for everything that follows. If you want to truly grasp the power of emotional dynamics in relationships, stay tuned. We'll be unpacking each step of this process in detail. These lessons might just change the way you approach your relationships forever. 2. The denial phase. After the initial shock fades, denial takes over, a defense mechanism designed to protect her from the painful truth. Instead of facing the fact that you've intentionally pulled away, she convinces herself that there's another reason. He's just busy. Maybe he's under stress. Or perhaps he's giving me some space. In this phase, her mind clings to hope, even if that hope is built on shaky ground. She may still try to maintain a connection, often in subtle ways. She might send a seemingly casual text like, "Hey, I just saw something that reminded me of you." It sounds light-hearted, but behind it is the quiet hope that you'll respond with the warmth you used to have. Or perhaps she'll post something on social media, carefully curated to catch your attention, a subtle reminder that says, "I'm still here. Don't forget about me." But as time passes and you remain distant, those small attempts at reconnection start to lose their power. Each unanswered text, each unacknowledged post, chips away at the illusion she's created. Slowly, the cracks in her denial widen, and the truth she's been avoiding starts to sink in. This isn't just a phase where you got momentarily distracted. It's a conscious choice you've made to pull back, And when that realization hits, it's like the ground beneath her shifts again. The walls of denial crumble, leaving her exposed and vulnerable to the next emotional stage in her journey. Understanding this denial phase helps us recognize how deeply people try to hold on when things start slipping away. If you're curious about the full scope of these emotional stages and how they unfold, stay with us. These insights might just help you navigate your own relationships with greater clarity and intention. 3. The blame game. After denial wears off, the blame game kicks in, a chaotic ride through a storm of emotions. At first, all her frustration is aimed at you. Why is he being so distant? Why did he suddenly change? These questions help her feel a sense of control by making you the problem. If you're the reason things fell apart, she doesn't have to face the deeper, more uncomfortable questions within herself. She might vent to friends, looking for comfort and validation. Can you believe he just stopped caring? Who does that? She'll say, hoping they'll reassure her that she's in the right and you're in the wrong. For a while, that might work, but this phase is temporary. Eventually, the blame starts to shift inward. Suddenly, her thoughts take a different turn. Was I too needy? Did I push him away? Did I take him for granted? The blame she directed at you begins to morph into self-criticism. This part of the process is harder to handle because it's deeply personal. She's no longer just angry with you, she's disappointed in herself. This moment of self-reflection is painful, but it's also a crucial turning point. It forces her to confront the reality of what's happening. The balance of power in the relationship has shifted, and now she's the one searching for answers, replaying everything in her mind. The blame game isn't really about assigning fault. It's about wrestling with the realization that perhaps she overlooked your importance in her life. It's in this phase that the emotional stakes are raised, and the journey toward understanding and growth truly begins. If you've ever experienced or witnessed these emotional shifts, you'll know how powerful they can be. Stick with us as we explore the next stages of this process. 4. The overthinking spiral. After the blame phase, she slips into the overthinking spiral, a mental trap that feels like being stuck in quicksand. Her mind goes into overdrive, looping endlessly through what-ifs and if-onlys. Every interaction, every conversation, and every message you exchanged becomes a piece of a puzzle she's desperately trying to solve. She replays those last moments of connection over and over. Did I miss something? Was there a shift in his tone? Did he seem distant? Were there signs I ignored? These thoughts consume her, and they're no longer just in her head. They start to shape her behavior too. She becomes hyper-focused on your digital presence, noticing every like, comment, and post. She might even scroll through months of old messages, dissecting your words in search of hidden clues. At this point, every move you make, or don't make, becomes fuel for her imagination. Your silence becomes a mystery, and her mind fills the blanks with countless scenarios. Is he seeing someone else? Did I push him away? Is he waiting for me to reach out? These thoughts feed on each other, creating an endless cycle. What's fascinating about this stage is how self-sustaining it is. The more she overthinks, the more questions arise. The more questions arise, the more she fixates on you. It's as if you're living rent-free in her mind, occupying her thoughts in a way you never did before. This spiral can feel all-consuming, but it's also part of a larger emotional journey. It reflects how deeply connected people can become and how attachment, when disrupted, can lead to intense mental loops. Understanding this stage helps us recognize the importance of balance in relationships, both emotional and mental. If you're curious about how these dynamics continue to play out, stay with us. In the upcoming sections, we'll explore the next stages of this emotional process. 5. The craving for validation. By this point, her need for validation has taken center stage. The absence of your attention has created an emotional void, and now she's desperate to fill it. This isn't just about wanting you back. It's about proving something to herself. She needs to know that she still has the ability to catch your eye, to spark your interest. Validation becomes her driving mission, and she'll subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, test the waters to achieve it. Maybe she gives one of your posts a casual like, sends a light-hearted message, or, coincidentally, runs into you at a familiar spot. None of these moves are random. They're carefully planned to see if she can trigger any sort of reaction from you. She's searching for signs that she still has a place in your thoughts, that there's a spark still waiting to be reignited. But here's the twist. Your lack of response only deepens her need for validation. The more you remain distant, the more she obsesses over finding ways to pull you back in. It's a psychological paradox. The less you give, the more she craves it. In her mind, every bit of silence from you becomes a challenge, one she's determined to overcome. At this stage, your silence holds a surprising amount of power. It's no longer just an absence of communication. It's a strategic move that keeps her emotionally hooked, even if she isn't fully aware of it. This craving for validation is like an invisible thread, pulling her thoughts and actions toward you, tightening with each passing day of detachment. Understanding this dynamic can be crucial for maintaining emotional balance. Relationships thrive on awareness, and knowing how these cycles play out can help us approach them with greater clarity. If you want to learn more about how this process unfolds and what lies ahead, stay tuned. These revelations might just shift your entire perspective on emotional dynamics. 6. The obsession with self-reflection. When she starts to fully grasp that you've pulled away, a deep process of self-reflection begins. It's one thing to feel rejected. It hurts, yes, but it's something else entirely to confront the possibility that her actions, or even her inaction, may have contributed to the distance between you. This realization is like a punch to the gut, forcing her to examine herself in ways she may have avoided before. Her mind shifts into overdrive. She starts dissecting every interaction, every word you said, and every moment you shared. Did I push him too hard? Was I too needy? Did I not give him enough space? Was I too focused on myself? These questions play on a loop, keeping her awake at night as she searches for answers that aren't easy to find. Deep down, she knows, though she might not want to admit it, that some of the distance could be her fault. This moment forces her to confront her choices with honesty. For the first time in a long while, she's taking a hard look at her behavior, acknowledging flaws she may have ignored. It's not an easy process. True introspection demands emotional maturity, and it comes with the painful understanding that perhaps she took you for granted. She might have assumed you'd always be there, always available, without fully appreciating the value of your presence. Now, with your silence hanging in the air, it's as if you're holding up a mirror to her. She begins to see the things she missed, those subtle moments, warnings, or opportunities to nurture the relationship that she let slip by. This stage isn't just about missing you anymore. It's about her coming to terms with what went wrong and why. Self-reflection is powerful, but it's also tough. It can mark a turning point where she either grows from the experience or remains stuck in regret. If you want to understand how this journey unfolds further, stay tuned. 7. Emotional outbursts. After all the soul-searching and introspection, the emotional outburst inevitably follows. All the frustration, regret, and pain she's been holding in finally reach a boiling point. It might not happen right away, but when it does, it's intense, for her and for anyone caught in its path. This is the moment where she fully confronts her emotions. Tears, anger, and confusion often come rushing to the surface. At this stage, she might reach out to you, maybe with a heartfelt text or an emotional phone call. But it's not just an attempt to reconnect. It's more than that. She's seeking a reaction. She wants you to acknowledge her pain, to hear her out, and to understand the depth of her hurt and confusion. Yet, underneath it all, she's also searching for validation. She needs to know that her feelings still matter to you, that she hasn't been entirely forgotten or cast aside. But here's where the dynamic shifts. If you've maintained your distance and stayed calm, this emotional outburst can become even more overwhelming for her. She's used to getting a response from you when she's vulnerable, whether that's comfort, empathy, or reassurance. Now, with you holding firm, she's left with a whirlwind of emotions that feels almost unbearable. Your calm demeanor, in contrast to her emotional storm, becomes a powerful presence. It's a frustrating paradox for her. The more composed you remain, the more heightened her emotions become. But this stage, as painful as it is, plays a crucial role in her emotional growth. It's when she starts to realize that her usual patterns, seeking validation and emotional safety from you, no longer have the same impact. This moment of emotional release forces her to face the aftermath on her own. Without the comfort of your immediate reaction, she begins to regain control over herself. It's a pivotal turning point. She's learning that the emotional safety net she once relied on is gone, and with that loss comes the opportunity to rebuild her inner strength. If you've ever been through a situation like this, you'll know how transformative it can be. Stay tuned as we continue breaking down these stages of emotional evolution. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss what's coming next. These insights might help you see relationships and yourself in a whole new light. 8. The longing and nostalgia. As time moves on, the longing deepens and nostalgia begins to take hold. It's not just about the empty space left by your absence. It's about the emotional connection she had with you, the closeness she can no longer experience. With each passing day, that sense of yearning becomes stronger. She starts reminiscing about the good times, the laughter you shared, the deep conversations, and those small, meaningful moments come flooding back. She may find herself scrolling through old texts, flipping through photos, or replaying moments in her mind. These memories become a blend of sweetness and regret, making her wish she had done things differently. This phase is marked by an important realization. She didn't fully appreciate the emotional bond between you two until it was gone. She might now see how she took your presence for granted, assuming it would always be there. And as she reflects, her mind starts to play a trick on her. She idealizes the relationship, focusing almost entirely on the positive moments while pushing the negative ones aside. In her mind, things start to feel almost perfect, even if that wasn't the reality. But deep down, she knows the truth. No matter how much she rewrites the past in her mind, the pain of losing that connection remains. The longing and nostalgia become part of her daily thoughts, and the emotional impact of your absence grows stronger with time. It's a difficult phase to endure, but it's also a crucial part of the healing process. These moments of reflection force her to confront what was lost, helping her learn from the experience. If you've ever experienced this kind of longing or witnessed it in someone else, you know how powerful it can be. Stick around as we explore the next steps in this emotional journey. 9. The desire to reconnect. Eventually, she'll reach a breaking point, the moment where her longing for you becomes overwhelming. The combination of missing you and realizing that she let something valuable slip away creates an intense urge to reach out. In this stage, she's caught in a powerful inner conflict. A part of her knows she should respect your space and let things be, but the desire to fix what's broken is just too strong to ignore. She may begin testing the waters, cautiously trying to gauge where you stand. Maybe she'll drop subtle hints, asking mutual friends about you, or casually checking in on your social media activity. Perhaps she'll take a bolder step and reach out to you directly with a text or call. But she won't approach this recklessly. She understands that things have changed and that the dynamic between you two isn't what it used to be. What she's looking for isn't just a sign of interest. It's something deeper. She wants confirmation that she still holds a place in your heart, even if it's just a small one. For her, even a brief message or a kind word from you could reignite hope, fueling her desire to try and rebuild the connection. However, fear of rejection is always present. It's what makes this step so delicate. She's taking a risk by reaching out, driven by both longing and uncertainty. Your response, or lack thereof, becomes pivotal. If you continue to maintain your distance and boundaries, she may finally accept that things are truly over. This could be the final step in her emotional journey toward closure and healing. On the other hand, if you respond with warmth and openness, it might reignite the cycle all over again. She could find herself right back in that loop of hope, longing, and emotional dependency. Relationships often follow complex emotional patterns like this. Stay tuned as we continue to explore the psychology behind these moments. 10. Acceptance of the situation. After all the emotional highs and lows, introspection, longing, and attempts to reconnect, she eventually reaches a place of acceptance. This doesn't mean the pain is gone or that she's completely over you. Instead, it's the understanding that she can't change the past and that life must go on without you. This stage is marked by a sense of clarity. She begins to accept that things have truly ended and that holding on is no longer serving her. Acceptance is not the same as closure. Closure often comes with time, perspective, and sometimes new experiences. Acceptance, on the other hand, is the moment she acknowledges that no amount of waiting, hoping, or wishing will bring the relationship back to what it once was. It's a bittersweet realization, painful because it forces her to let go of the possibility of rekindling the connection, but at the same time, it brings a quiet sense of peace. She stops resisting reality and starts finding comfort in moving forward. This acceptance opens the door to emotional rebuilding. She gradually shifts her focus from the past to her own healing and growth. The emotional roller coaster that has consumed her begins to slow down, and she can finally breathe again. It's in this space of acceptance that she often becomes stronger, wiser, and more self-aware. She starts to reflect on the lessons learnt from the experience, lessons that will guide her in future relationships. While the process is far from easy, it's this final stage that ultimately leads to growth, resilience, and self-discovery. Reaching acceptance is an important turning point. both for healing and for moving forward with greater emotional clarity. If you've experienced or witnessed this kind of journey, you'll understand how powerful it can be. Stay tuned as we continue exploring these emotional dynamics. Thanks for staying with me until the end. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss more insights that could change your perspective. Your support means everything. It helps me create more content like this for you. Got something you want to share? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your experiences, or even your questions. Let's keep the conversation going and build a strong community of resilient and unstoppable minds. Together, we can learn, grow, and make this journey truly unforgettable. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.